I got reincarnated with a full memory of the 21st century. Phones, satellites, the internet gone. What's left is knowledge. And when I found myself standing in an ice age, long before any of it existed, the first thing I looked for wasn't fire. It was a library. Not a building, not shelves. A system. Something that could hold information longer than any single brain could remember it. And it turns out humans built one. 40,000 years before Sumer, before Egypt, before anyone thought, this is the story of the oldest information system on Earth, and why rebuilding civilization starts with figuring out how to not forget. Here's the problem I ran into immediately. In the 21st century, I never had to remember anything. Google remembered it for me. Here, every fact lives in someone's head, and when that person dies, the fact dies with them. That's the actual bottleneck of early civilization, not tools, not fire, data loss. A hunter-gatherer band might figure out exactly when the reindeer migrate, or when a river floods. And if the one person who tracked it doesn't pass it on before they die, the knowledge resets to zero. Every generation relearns the world from scratch. So the real breakthrough isn't a weapon. It's anything that lets information outlive a human lifespan. And the evidence says our ancestors solved this problem at least 40,000 years ago, long before anyone had a word for Chauvet, dozens of others, and next to the famous paintings of horses, bison, and deer, you'll find something easy to miss. Rows of dots, lines, and Y-shaped marks. For over a century, archaeologists cataloged them and moved on. They looked random. Decorative, maybe. Then, researchers started treating them like data instead of decoration. Large-scale analysis of more than 3,000 of these geometric signs across European Ice Age sites dated to roughly 40,000 years ago found something striking. The marks weren't random at all. They followed a small, recurring set of about 32 signs, used consistently across enormous distances and long stretches of time. Here's the important distinction. And I want to be precise about this, because it matters. The study's actual finding is about structure. These sign sequences show statistical patterns, but they don't carry the same information density as true writing systems, which encode spoken language. The researchers were careful to say they can't confirm exactly what the symbols meant. That's the confirmed science. What I'm about to say next is my speculation layered on top of that, not the study's conclusion. If different groups across Ice Age Europe were using the same symbol set over thousands of years, something was standardizing it. Maybe contact between bands. Maybe shared trade routes, moving people and ideas along with goods. That's a hypothesis on my part, worth testing, not an established fact. Now here's where it gets specific. One line of dots, paired with drawings of horses and bison, kept showing up next to the animals in a pattern that repeated year after year. An independent researcher, Ben Bacon, working with archaeologists at Durham and UCL, proposed that these weren't just counting marks. He suggested they track the lunar month in which specific animals mated or gave birth. I want to flag this clearly. This is a proposed interpretation, not a confirmed decoding. The team themselves describe it as a hypothesis supported by correlating the number of marks to the birth cycles of comparable modern animals. It's a compelling pattern match, but we can't interview the people who made these marks. So, if the hypothesis holds, though, think about what it means. Ice Age humans weren't just surviving season to season. They were compressing a year's worth of ecological observation, migration timing, mating seasons, birth cycles into a portable notation they could pass down. That's not memory. That's infrastructure for memory. Now, separately, there's another category of evidence: carved bones with tally marks. The Lebombo bone, found in the mountains between South Africa and Eswatini, has 29 notches cut into a baboon fibula, and estimates place it in a similar range. Some analyses put artifacts like this in the tens of thousands of years old. Then there's the Ishango bone, found near the headwaters of the Nile, with clusters of notches grouped in ways that some researchers propose reflect early counting, or possibly even a rudimentary number system clusters that echo prime numbers, or a lunar count. I need to be upfront here. This interpretation is genuinely contested. Some researchers argue it's a sophisticated mathematical tool. Others argue it's simply a tally stick, and we're pattern matching meaning onto grooves that may have had a much simpler use. One hypothesis suggests structured counting. It is not settled fact. What both bones share is the same underlying idea: Physical marks, standing in for information, outlasting the person who made them. Whether it's a calendar, a tally, or something we haven't guessed yet, someone decided a bone could remember what a brain would eventually forget. So let's rebuild the logic. Around 40,000 years ago, in caves and on carved bone, humans converged on the same solution from multiple angles. Take something transient, a season, a migration, a birth cycle, a count, and encode it into something permanent, repeatable, shareable. I wouldn't call this a library implies organized shelves and deliberate curation, and we don't have evidence of that. What I'd say instead is this. Humans may have built one of the earliest known systems for storing information external to any single brain, durable across generations, and interpretable by people who weren't there when it was made. That's the actual invention, not the symbol. The system, a way to move knowledge across time without a living person carrying it the whole way. And that's the exact tool I needed the moment I landed in this world. Every civilization, one know of Sumerian cuneiform, Egyptian hieroglyphs, Chinese oracle bones, all of them show up after this. Full writing, encoding actual language is a younger technology, arriving roughly 35,000 years later. But the underlying instinct, mark it down so it survives you, that's already here, fully formed, in the Ice Age. Here's what I keep coming back to. I have a phone's worth of knowledge in my head and nowhere to put it. They had almost nothing, a cave wall, a bone, some flint, and they still found a way to defeat forgetting. That's the real headline. Information storage isn't a modern invention. It's a 40,000-year-old instinct, and we're still just building better versions of the same idea. Next time you write something down, a note, a password, a to-do list, you're doing exactly what someone did in an Ice Age cave, scratching lines by torchlight, betting that a mark could outlive a memory. They were right. That bet is still paying off 40,000 years later. YouTube title options. #Age, #history, #proto writing,